Welcome to our very first Headlight Herald cooking video. My name is Mary Faith Bell, and this is my friend Al Wylder.
How do you do, folks?
Al and I are going to demonstrate cooking carrot soup and artisan bread. I've asked Al to help me today because he is great company and he loves good food. In particular, I know that he loves carrot soup, and he really likes this bread also.
Oh, you bet.
So first we're going to stir up some bread. This recipe is for a no-knead bread. It's directly from Jim Leahy's cookbook, My Bread by Jim Leahy. And all you do to start it is add salt, 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of yeast to 3 cups of bread flour. Here is the recipe, right here. And so Al's stirring that up with a whisk. Then we're going to add 1 1/3 cups of water. And then we can stir it some more. It may be easier to stir with a wooden spoon at this point.
Might be.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll get that for you. Okay. There we go. That's fine. Okay, so we're just going to stir it up, and it makes a wet bread dough. And this is called no-knead bread because, in fact, you do not have to knead the dough. So, but what you do have to do is plan ahead, because you're going to let the bread dough sit for anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. And in fact, I've let it sit for longer, Al. I have let it sit for as long as 36 hours,
wow,
maybe even 48, and it starts to become sour, and it's really pretty good. So
It is.
you keep stirring for a second.
Will do.
And I will show folks what it's going to look like in 24 hours.
Oh.
So when we've got this all stirred up, and we'll cover it with plastic wrap, let it sit for 24 hours, and in 24 hours it's going to look like this. It will have doubled in size, it'll be slightly off color, it'll start to look a little bit brown, and it'll be very bubbly. So this is what it should look like before we turn it out. So,
Having a tough time to get it all mixed in here.
okay, would you like a hand?
Maybe so.
Alright. Well, I think we need a little more water. I think that's the problem there.
Possibly so. Shall I go get some?
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Okay, so we'll add a little more water. So I start with 1 1/3 cups of water and just add a little more. The important thing is that there not be any lumps of dry flour.
Oh.
You're doing a great job, Al.
I'm trying.
Okay, so Al's stirring that up, and I'm going to turn this bread dough out. So this has set for almost 24 hours. And we'll turn it out. I need a spatula. Okay, so we'll turn it out onto, this is just a flexible cutting board, they're very handy, they're good for this project. So we'll turn the dough out onto a floured board. It's sticky. It's still wet. It's sticky. It's kind of rubbery. Okay. And then we'll just turn it a little bit in the flour. And then manipulate it so that, add a little flour to the sticky spots, and manipulate it so that it forms a ball. Like so. And then that's all there is to it. Now this needs to rise for 2 hours, covered, and then we'll bake. All right, Al, how are you doing?
Oh, we're getting there, I think.
That looks good. So we get this so that there's no more dry flour.
I don't think there's any.
And so really that's all there is to putting this bread together. Now we'll put plastic wrap over this and hold it for 24 hours, and then when it's ready we would turn it out and do the step that I just demonstrated. Now we are going to start some soup. We're going to start carrot soup, so we're moving over to the stove. Okay, for this carrot soup we're going to saute carrots and onions. We're going to start out with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Al, would you like to dump those carrots in there?
Oh, you bet.
Good.
Put these in
Those
there.
two?
Well.
So we have a pound of sliced carrots and a medium-sized onion chopped. And we're going to saute those in 2 tablespoons of olive oil until they are tender. And when they're soft, sure, you may stir them up, that'd be fine. And when they're soft, we'll add a cup of rice and some vegetable broth. We're back. I asked my friend Al to do this video with me because I met him years ago when I was working in a little restaurant where I made this carrot soup. And
oh, it was delicious.
Al used to come in and eat a big bowl of this carrot soup and then get a container and take it home, and he'd come back. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
So I asked him to help me with this video to make this carrot soup. So we have cooked it now, and the recipe is very easy. So we used 1 pound of carrots, 1 medium onion. We sauteed that in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then we added, when they sauteed the carrots and onions until they were soft, and then added half a cup of rice and 49 ounces of broth. So in this case we used organic vegetable broth in honor of my friend Marilyn, who is vegan, and we are using her kitchen. You could also use chicken broth, and it's equally delicious. So now we cooked them. After you add the broth, then you simmer it for 45 minutes. We've done that, and this is the result. Looks like a carroty, ricey slop.
Oh, love the way you put it.
And now we're going, and you're not adding salt to this recipe because these broths always have salt. So now, right behind you, Al, we're going to add a little spice. So if you had fresh dill, if you're growing fresh dill in your garden, fresh dill would be delicious here, but I don't. If you had fresh dill, you would add about 1/4 cup, but I have dried dill, so I'm just going to add a couple of pinches, maybe 3. So the dill is just to taste, but dried dill is kind of strong. And Al and I both like pepper. And this is my current favorite pepper mix. It's called Original Creole Seasoning.
Oh, good stuff.
It is quite good, so we're going to add some pepper. Okay, Al's going to stir for us. What do you think, Al?
Oh, looks pretty darn good. I think that's stirred up well enough.
Terrific. Now we're going to let that cool for a minute, and then we're going to blend it in the food processor. So in the meantime, the bread is ready to go. We mixed up the bread in the first section, and we formed a loaf. And so here it is. It's been rising now for 2 hours, and so it's ready to go in the oven. So the trick about this bread is that you just have to plan ahead, and because it sits in the bowl for approximately a day, 24 hours. So presumably you started the bread the day before. So now the bread's ready to go, and the other thing about it is that what it requires is a heavy pan with an oven-safe lid that will be fine in the oven at 450 degrees. So I'm going to move over to the oven. So cast iron pans work well for this, and anything with but the lid has to, you need a handle that's not going to melt in the oven at 450 degrees. And so you preheat both the oven and the pan at 450 degrees for 30 minutes. So the pan has to be smoking hot when the bread goes into it, so of course you have to be careful not to burn yourself. Here's our smoking hot pan. It is smoking hot, literally. Okay, so this, I'm going to flip over the sink so that the loose flour falls in the sink, and then I'm just going to put the bread whole in the pan. Put the lid back on. Now it's going to bake at 450 for 40 minutes. Here is our soup. We have pureed it in the food processor, and it's just what we showed you in the pan. It's carrots, onions, rice, and broth. We added a little dill, and we added some pepper, and we added just a little bit of salt. We pureed it. I'll give you an example. Like so. And we're ready to have Al taste it.
I'll certainly taste. Ooh, that's plenty.
Is that enough, Al?
Oh God, yes.
Okay. So if you puree it when it's hot, you can serve it immediately. Let me get you a spoon, Al. Stay right
Need a
there.
spoon, yeah. Not very good at eating soup without a spoon.
There you go. Are you left-handed?
Yeah.
I did not know.
I eat left-handed, but I write right-handed.
Well, that's interesting.
Good, good, good.
All right.
Very good.
So we got these carrots at the Tillamook Farmers Market. They were beautiful, inexpensive, right from somebody's garden. And as I said before, this can be a vegetarian/vegan meal, or you could make it with chicken broth. You could use butter instead of olive oil. And when I'm making it at home for my son, he likes to put a little heavy cream in there.
Oh my.
Which would not be a low-fat vegan option, but it is really delicious.
I'm sure it would be.
So we want to encourage you to pick up some carrots at the farmer's market and try this soup at home yourself. If you have a food processor, it's very easy, nutritious, and delicious. Okay, our bread is done. It's baked at 450 for 40 minutes. And again, you want to be very careful because it's extremely hot.
That it is. Also, bet it's pretty good.
There we go.
Steaming.
What do you say, Al?
That looks like a beauty.
That is a beauty.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so here's our bread.
Ooh, man.
It smells great, doesn't it?
I should say. Yeah. Ooh.
Alright, now I'm going to tip it out of the pot. Put it on this board.
Yeah. Boy. Smells good. Ooh. God darn. That is good.
When I met Al, he used to come in and buy artisan bread with big chunks of garlic.
Garlic in it, yeah.
Big chunks of roasted garlic in that bread. And sometimes he would come in and buy a loaf of bread every day.
Yeah. I didn't eat all of it in one day, however, but it was all so good.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us in our very first ever cooking video for the Headline Herald.
'Tis a beauty.
This is Mary Faith Bell and my friend Al Wylder, inviting you to make your own food and enjoy it.
And enjoy it to the fullest.
Thanks.